Hello students, we are back with Entrepreneurship second chapter, Entrepreneur Planning. This is our part 3. In the previous video, we have studied about sole proprietorship and partnership. In this video, we are going to work out with HUF and cooperative society. So moving ahead with the topic, we have Hindu undivided family. As the name represents, Hindu undivided family business is a unique form of business as there is only present in Indian society. HUF is governed by the Hindu law. So that's the reason it is only found in India. It is managed and controlled by the male members of joint Hindu family. As per the Hindu law, it states as a family which consists of male lineally descended from a common ancestor and includes their wife and unmarried daughters. So basically, it arises from the status and not from the legal contract. So HUF is the best form of organization for saving the taxes. As far as the schools of HUF is concerned, we have two types of school. First is Dayabhaga and second is Mitakshara. Dayabhaga is prevalent in West Bengal and Assam. A son acquires the right in the family property only in the case when the father dies, not before that. Whereas Mitakshara, that is prevailing in the rest of the India, has the clause that the son can has the right on the property of his father right from his birth. So, as far as the important condition for the existence of HUF is concerned is there is minimum of 2 members in the family, that should be the male members, and secondly, it should be the existence of ancestral property. That means the grandfather must have started the business for it, and the benefit will be gained by the grandson. Let's come up with the characteristic of HUF. The first is creation. See, it arises by the status or the operation of Hindu law. So, the Hindu law is the main reason for its creation. Second is membership. A male member becomes a member by merely taking the birth in the family. Even an adopted child can also be a member of HUF. As far as management is concerned, the eldest male member manages the affair and he is called as Karta. He is the one who takes care of other members' work also. Moving to the fourth is liability. Karta has the unlimited liability, whereas the other member of the family has limited liability to the extent of share in property. Right of accounts, if it is concerned, only Karta can check the accounts. Minor as a member, yes. A male, when he is been born in that family, becomes the member automatically. As far as the dissolution of HUF is concerned, see, HUF continues until 2 members is there in that family. If members mutually agrees, that is, all the members mutually agrees, they can dissolve the HUF. When it comes to employed authority, only Karta has the employed authority to bind the HUF, and this is the reason he has an unlimited liability. Unlimited liability, that is, the property that belongs to the Karta personal name will be sold in case any liability arises more than the assets of HUF. See, as far as HUF benefits are concerned, there is a very effective control as the Karta is the senior most and he has a lot of experience in working. This business continues for a longer time, generation to generation. The liability of the member is limited and the loyalty and the cooperation is seen in this form of business organization. but few are the limitations also. That is because the resources, financial resources, are limited to that particular family itself. Unlimited liability of Karta also puts the problem for the whole family. Limited managerial skill of Karta may also lead to the failure in business. So, this may be the demerits of HUF. See, HUF is very suitable where there is an ancestral property and the people wants to save the taxes. For this they just need to have the ancestral property, two members, a proper name, a deed in which they are registering their firm as a HUF, applying for the PAN in which they have Karta as a male member, then opening a bank account in the for the HUF corporates, and this all is required for the starting of HUF. So, important thing that we need to understand about HUF is adopted child can also be a HUF member. Secondly, a daughter if get married, then she ceases to be the member of HUF. So moving ahead with the next form of organization is cooperative society. Yes, you very well know about Amul. That's a success story of Amul is because of the cooperative society. Cooperative, helping each other, coming together is the main thing that is happening in this society, this form of business organization. Let's understand what is it. A cooperative is different form of business organization as the main motive is not to earn profit but for the mutual help. That's the reason this cooperative society can be formed by anyone. The only thing is they need to be helping each other. There should be minimum of 10 people working for it and they can start their cooperative society. See, cooperative society is governed by the Indian Cooperative Society Act 1912, and as per it, a society which has its objective as a promotion of economic interests of its member in accordance with cooperative principle is cooperative society. Moving ahead with the features of cooperative society, first is registration. For a cooperative society, it is mandatory to have itself registered. It is registered under the Cooperative Society Act 1912 or under the State Cooperative Society Act. There should be at least 10 people who are coming together to form the cooperative society. On the registration, the society becomes a body corporate having a separate legal entity of its own. And it has a perpetual succession. Perpetual succession means whether any member comes or go, doesn't matter. The cooperative society is going to continue and the liability of its member is limited to its share. Second is voluntary association. A cooperative organization is a voluntary association of people. Everyone who has a common interest is free to join this cooperative society. There is no restriction on caste, creed, religion. All the people who are having the common interest can come and join the society. And even they can leave just by giving a proper notice to the society, taking their capital back. The number of members is specific to 10 and maximum there is no limit. Democratic management is there in cooperative society. That means the organization is managed by the managing committee and they are being elected by the members on the basis of one member, one vote. The democracy setup is the keynote of the management in cooperative society. Service motive is the main thing for which it is being formed and not for the profit. Capital and return thereon, the capitalist procure from its member in the form of shares. A member can subscribe the subject to a maximum of 10% of total share capital or rupees 1000, whichever is higher. The share cannot be transferred but has to be surrendered, means they cannot transfer their share to anyone else. They have, if they want to leave the organization, they have to give it back to the organization. The rate of dividend to be paid to the members is restricted to 9%, that is mentioned in Cooperative Society Act 1912. As far as government control is concerned, the government has a control on all the cooperative societies, and the cooperative society have to submit their annual reports and accounts to the registrar annually. As far as the distribution of surplus is concerned, after giving the dividend to the members, the surplus of the profit, if any, is distributed among the members on the basis of goods purchased by each of them from the society. That means more of the participation by the members, more will be the share they will be getting it. So these are the features of cooperative society. In the next video, we will study about the joint stock company.